Okay, so new year, new format, doing this again, right?
Podcasts are back, baby. I'm only gonna be here
It's
for a little bit because I have work.
yeah, it's a little bit weird to return to a format, but as we've gotten more and more busy, it kind of felt like this was a more natural progression instead of like hyping ourselves up to do this and that and the next thing. Some of us are in the middle of a move, others of us are kind of transitioning to a move, so to speak, and then you've been super busy with peak. Now that's winding down, I think, for you guys. But
Yep. Fucking finally, dude. Holy hell.
eh,
Fucking peak season is ass.
yeah. So for those of you that don't know what peak is, that's when the holiday season, the holiday rush hits Amazon. That's where Thurman works. That's where I used to work last year. And it's just kind of really super hectic, mandatory 11, 12-hour days, and just gets really crazy. So that's why he's been kind of sporadic there. And I've been
Mm.
doing a lot of test work for my job, so that's why I've been kind of all over the place with stream schedules and everything on that end. And then Red, he'll be joining after he says goodbyes to his partner and starts hitting the road. So he'll be calling in, so we'll pop him up when this gets here. But I just kind of wanted to give everybody like a little welcome back to the old format. This is how we'll be doing things for a while, maybe permanently. We don't know yet. So this gives us a chance to kind of like be really bullshitty and tell stories that we didn't really have a chance to tell, but also touching on anime and manga and the like that we kind of you guys were used
And
to.
gaming and movies and
It's just
remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is not just a game, anime manga channel. It is a multimedia channel. It's just our anime and manga videos get the most traction.
right, but
But
now it's kind of
you
like
do have game videos if you want to check that out.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's in the description somewhere
If
down
you think
there.
I'm digging through all of our old shit that I've kind of shuffled around the last year, no, I'm not doing that. Control
Uh,
Chaos Studios on Twitch. That's where you can see the gaming streams. Yeah, I'll be doing some more retro shit. Red will be going through Kingdom Hearts and that kind of shit here in the next couple weeks. I'll tease that really quick. The thing I really am glad that Red kind of brainchild this back into fucking existence because we kind of retired this for a while. Is I really do want to talk about Halo Infinite. Have you had a chance to play it yet, Thurman?
no, not yet.
So I
Ugh.
really I really do like this open world aesthetic that they've given it because it's given so much freedom to the game. I just beat it like right around Christmas actually, right when like I was opening the thing for the new skit that we'll be doing at some point. I don't know if it'll be attached to this video or a future video, but my partner got me something really cool for a skit. I teased it in the Discord. I opened that and then I was beating the shit out of the final boss of Halo Infinite. But it gave this really unique feel to the game. It almost feels like a pseudo Assassin's Creed title, but at the same time, it still feels like Halo. I don't really know how to explain it unless you play it, but if it's free on Game Pass, I highly recommend it. If you're a Halo fan, this feels like old school Halo. The fucking multiplayer, you and I should play it on stream sometime when we're both not dead on our ass. I
Not wishing for death.
and maybe after the move, middle of the month, you and I can hop on that and we can stream it over on our Twitch. It's so much fun, dude. It's so much fun. I've never really gave a fuck about a battle pass, but I'm almost completed the battle pass for this. It's
That's
wild.
for
It's wild.
sure.
So, what have you been playing lately? Because
Hearthstone.
I know you've been fucking with Dota 2 again.
Yeah, I mean, I'll always like. I honestly, right? I don't know what it is. I'm not gonna say it's because of my depression. I don't honestly at this point. I don't even fucking know. But I don't know, man. Like when it comes to my anime, when it comes to my like anime, my
Your
games, or
interest,
I just
really.
been
Yeah.
sort of been like blah. And it's like only thing I really feel like playing is like either Dota or fucking Hearthstone. Like I feel like these two are like
Comfort games, basically.
my sort of like comfort like depression games. But I don't even like feel like depressed though. So I'm like, maybe I do. I don't fucking know what I'm feeling. Honestly,
I
it
get you. I get you.
hard to say, but I was just like, 'cause I was so down to play something, but then like all of a sudden, like my mood was just, like I was gonna play Guilty Gear, and because I fucking love that game, but I was just like, I'm not in the mood to play it, so I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, I
Yeah,
know I'm not tired of the games, but it's just like, bro,
I feel you. Like this time of year is really hard for you to really. I feel like this is for everybody, and I know kind of beating a dead horse at this point, but like at this time of year is really hard for people to sit down and enjoy their interests because seasonal depression really hits hard. You know, the holiday season coming out of that right up until like February, I feel like is just like bleh period. That's why this format's really gonna work a little bit better for us because I felt it too here recently. So I just kind of am forcing myself to slowly go through like my gaming backlog. But for me, though, you know, my game like that is every year, like around this time, I start going back through Kingdom Hearts because that's like my comfort game. Like that franchise has been so meaningful to my childhood and my life now that that's what I do around this time. And luckily, because Red's going to be playing through all of Kingdom Hearts on stream, I have it for the PC now. So I've just been slowly going through it on there. And the reason I asked is because I've been watching you bounce back and forth between like Runeterra, Dota 2, and Hearthstone and Discord. And the other side of that is like I know my partner is really really big into League. So
yeah.
you know,
I've just been playing my comfort games lately
hmm
because I've been trying to get back. I actually been playing my emulators too, but I've been trying to get back into playing like because I have a bunch of games in my backlog that I want to get back into playing and all that extra stuff like that. But I've just been it's just been rough, you know.
hmm
Like I don't really fucking know like what to do. So I promise because I get off of work early tonight. I get off at 2 oh shit, he's destroying my shit. Ah, bitch, I reborn. Sorry, Hearthstone talk. But it was rough because I'm promised myself. I'm like, okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just going to fucking I'm just gonna force myself to play some games, or I'm gonna force myself to play. So when I get home tonight, I'm gonna try to force myself to either watch anime or play some sort of
watch
game.
86. Watch
I got
86.
I got Nino Kuni over there, right? Like I got a lot of good games out here, like
hmm
a lot of great games. So
So
I just need to force myself to stop being a baby back bitch and you know do my hobbies.
hmm so my challenge to you is, have you finished 86 yet?
No, I didn't even start. I didn't never even started it.
Okay, so my challenge to you is start 86 because I want to talk about that anime.
86, 86.
Yep, 86. Start
I
that.
heard a lot of good things about it.
I fucking love it. Start that, and then next podcast we can talk about that.
I'm
And
down. Honestly, like I'm trying to get back into it. One good thing is, however, is that I have been. Oh my god, this fucking bitch! I have been playing. You know what? Let's do this. Okay. Oh yeah, I'm definitely taking that
you're
shit.
still running a beatdown deck, aren't you?
I'm running a boom bomb. I actually started again playing warrior, but we're gonna suicide everything here. Okay, so also I got back into reading my comics.
I noticed you were reading
Which
Black Science. I should start that, and we could maybe cover that at some point too.
I'm down. I was reading Black Science. Fucking phenomenal, ladies and
Mhm.
gentlemen. Read it if you're a fan of sci-fi. This comic, I'm on I think issue 12. I think
Mhm.
it's so good. It's so good. And then I've also been reading Bomb Queen, another image Shadowline staple. Bomb Queen, I will not recommend for anybody, strictly because if you thought Redo of Healer was bad and Berserk is bad, this shit ups that shit up by like 2000. Okay,
Did you see my beat down on that idiot that you retweeted earlier?
I have not.
I just quote retweeted it and just went through like the history of comics on their post.
Oh yeah, bro. He's so bro. That guy was so dumb. He was just like, comics could never. I'm like,
I'm just
bro,
over here
really?
like, have you seen Invincible or Deceased or anything like that, my guy?
He did admit that he doesn't read comics, so I'm like, okay, I guess that's your saving grace there. But dude, like, don't if you don't read it,
If you
like,
don't
don't
read it, you can't
act.
be like, oh, the woke comics could never.
Yeah, he's dumb because like comics have been doing that shit for years,
Right.
literally for years.
Absolutely. So, and my other challenge to you is like, and this is a challenge I have for everybody that's viewing this, everybody that's like in our comment section right now. I challenge you to sit down and play play a game or read something or do something that is your hobby for 2 hours a day. And that's how I started warming myself back into like watching anime, reading manga, doing all like after doing that 6 hour stream, I did not want to read manga again. Like I was so burnt out on manga. And then I'm like, oh, I still have all this stuff in the Discord that you guys, our community, recommended. I'm like, I can't just abandon this project, you know? I feel bad just letting people down, you know? It's almost like an obligation, like, but at the same time, I'm like, I wanted to do this. I wanted to branch out. So I just sat down. I'm like, okay, so what didn't I cover out of the stuff that I was buying or just sitting down and consuming? And then kind of dropped off and let fall by the wayside for that video, right? That top 10 video. And I just sat down and read manga for an hour a day and then watched an hour of anime a day. And now I'm kind of just slowly getting back into it. And then for me, like, because there's like 7 PS5s on the planet and we don't have them, I just like, I gotta clear my backlog. This is a perfect opportunity to sit down and beat games that I hadn't beat, that I had bought, or just traded other shit in for that I wasn't playing anymore, you know. So that's how I've been kind of doing that. I mean, my Steam library is a fucking cesspool of shit that I've been buying since like 2011. So I have like 700 games on there that I've never really played because I would sit down and play the same like 8 games over and over and over again, like Siege. So I kind of just thought, well, this is a perfect opportunity. So I started with Shadow Warrior 1, and then right after I beat Halo Infinite because, you know, that was an obligation. That's me as a Halo fan sitting down and beating that. So I started with Shadow Warrior 1. I just started Shadow Warrior 2 today. And then obviously there's a third one coming out sometime this year. But after I beat 2, because it's not out yet, I'm just going to sit down and just go down what I have installed on my computer and then just continue down the fucking backlog, you know? And just doing it for like an hour or two a day. And that's like the easiest way to kind of fuel your passions, but at the same time, just not kind of burning yourself out on them. You feel me?
Yeah, I definitely feel you. It's rough, man. It's definitely rough because I'm gonna lose this game, dude. I'm definitely gonna lose it. Well, he's almost out of cards, but this shit's gonna be rough to
Is
win.
a photo finish there?
Oh, fucking hell, dude. Oh, I hate priest decks so fucking much. They're so annoying.
I cannot. I like after college, I could not sit down and play Hearthstone anymore. I was wasting too much money on that shit. That game,
Some money, damn game.
that game was just hell for me. Like pre Overwatch loot box, that was my like cesspool of cosmetics. But like in that case, it was just like card packs. I just couldn't. I couldn't keep playing that. I was wasting like nearly every penny I was making. Hey Red, let me put your face on here and let me put your beautiful avatar up. So Red, I'm going to give you the same questions I gave Thurman here. Kind of get
Dick size, I got you. 6.2 inches. Sorry.
You
was
actually
it?
measured this time?
Have you not?
I mean, I have.
Jesus Christ. That wasn't the question I was asking. But thanks for.
David, I think sometimes you forget about the chaos element.
Oh, I know. I know.
All right, what's up, man?
So like here, what have you been playing recently? I know you're a big Smash player, so I'm guessing that.
Let me think. I've been getting back into Breath of the Wild because I've been having Allie play it. That's been fun.
Right.
Before that, Deltarune Chapter 2, I replayed that a fuck ton. The Spamton battle was incredible. Like, I know Thurman's a big fan of like boss battles in general. He just loves a good boss battle, and that Spamton boss battle slaps hard.
I love the aesthetic of boss battles. In my opinion, boss battles are like the essentially like the anime version of like video games, you know, like good boss battle, because there's a lot of shitty boss battles out there, but like boss battles are just like, I'm gonna be honest, if your game has shitty boss battles, low key your game probably fucking sucks.
Yeah, because that's like, in terms of the combat side of your game, that's like the first thing you should be like looking at, like how do we make this. But I guess after the like mechanics itself, then it's like, all right, the like thing that impresses the most. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like level design, mechanics, and then boss battles, and how do those three kind of coexist?
Part of the big three, you could say.
Yeah, because like even being a Super Doom fan, like some of those like DLC boss battles are ass.
Because that's right. It's just like, sorry. It's you have to essentially for a boss battle, because that's actually one of the main reasons why I love Kingdom Hearts 2 so much, is that first boss battle against Axel, that shit was fire. Like that, the whole like it felt like it felt like I was actually like playing an anime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
because boss battles are like, they really wrap the narrative into a fight. A well done boss battle.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mario boss battles, like Mega Man boss battles, like shit like that, like are just like some of the most like biggest like highs to me.
Yeah.
It's just because it's just like, bro, like you're out here just fighting for your life, you know, like especially like the music's good, like the stakes are there, you know, like it's just definitely one of those like, oh shit, like shit just got real sort of things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like I love a good boss battle, like
because I mean the best part about any like video game, the best part about any video game is when you can wrap the like narrative, like when you want the same thing that the character you're playing wants, it's perfect, right? Like that's one of the reasons why like Toby Fox's games are phenomenal, because like every fight you're fighting, you feel in the back of your head, this could, if I do this the wrong way, these characters might hate me, or if I do this the wrong way, the character might fucking break the fourth wall, look at me, and say, "You're a demon. Fuck you." Like, so, like, that's why I like Toby Fox boss battles, is because like they're really meta, and they're meta and they're like aware that you're a person like playing the game, or if the ones that aren't meta are very much like there to like judge you. You're just judge who you are as a person, like your morals and shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, bro. Like, and because I mean, like. What's
everyone's like favorite boss battles here?
You know, it's a shame that recording of ours for that one death battle just got ruined, because that final boss fight against Xehanort in Kingdom Hearts 3 is like one of my favorite boss battles.
I probably let's see, because it's actually really good. I like the X versus Zero boss battle. It's pretty fun.
That's like a whole play on morality too, when you dive deep into it.
Yeah, X versus Zero. They always fight each other. It's actually so funny. So funny, but I like a lot of Mario. Like Mario versus Bowser is like
so long, Bowser.
Specifically in the Mario Galaxy, Mario Galaxy was literally one of the peak of Mario's, because like like fighting on planets and shit, like that shit was like, that's some like shit you don't like expect in like a Mario game, you know, and like being like to fight on the planet and shit, like run away from like a giant ass Bowser, like punching like a tiny ass planet, like that's just like fire.
Yeah. They literally peaked with those games. Like that's why I don't play Mario games anymore. Because like every Mario game after that's just been like, it's fine.
Like
Yeah.
I love Final Fantasy boss battles. Like specifically, like Final Fantasy 15 boss battles felt like fucking fire.
The giant
13
turtle it
boss
takes like
battles,
20 hours to beat.
let's see what else. I mean, this shit.
Oh, I got one. Okay.
Oh, Kirby
Okay.
ones too. Oh my
So
god.
I gotta give some love. Okay. Can I go or no?
Go.
Yeah, go ahead.
What?
Go ahead.
Okay. I got to give some love to Girahim from Skyward Sword. Not many people talk about that Zelda game, but Girahim is essentially like Hisoka in the Zelda universe. Like he's got the same aesthetic. He's like a creep, and he's like talking about like fighting all the time. And then like the twist that he's essentially the entire time. Like imagine if like the entire game you're fighting what you think is the main bad guy, but then it's revealed that like actually the guy you've been fighting this whole game has been like the Zanpakuto spirit of the main bad guy. Because that's literally what Girahim is. Like the whole time in Skyward Sword, you think he's the main bad guy, and then the main bad guy is resurrected, and then the guy you've been fighting is like, my lord, and then he like becomes his sword. I fucking love that shit.
Jesus, yeah, that game
That's
was a
dope.
trip. I know it's
Yeah,
not
I love that
really a boss battle, but like the first time you encounter Jack Frost in Shin Megami Tensei is just dope.
Oh yeah, Shin Megami Tensei, especially in 5, boss battles are really really fun. Like even 3, like holy shit.
Nocturne,
Like,
I still say Nocturne was peak. I'm getting more into 5 slowly. Like I'm just using that as like my there's Shadowmare barking. I'm just like using it as like this background game to play when I'm like at work and shit. But like it's super fun. I gotta give them credit. They made it more modern. They took everything that was
Yeah.
good with Nocturne and made it modern. So yeah, it just took me a while to get used to it, like because I'm so used to that like narrow corridor pathway shit, like that pseudo open world style from Nocturne. But like,
honestly, to me, what makes a great boss battle is a combination of like things. So like number one, I think is the setting, like
Mhm.
because I mean, let's be honest, right? Like, because people will be like, you could, like different, like even like final bosses. Like, I don't even consider like I'm not even talking about like final boss because final boss is like a whole different breed. I'm talking about
Any
just
boss.
like bosses in general, right? Because there are a lot of games where like the final boss is really good, but like let's be honest, we all have that few games where like it's like a boss and like halfway through the game is more fun than a final boss. Let's be honest, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
we all have the games.
I got an example of that. Zant in Twilight Princess, because like they shoehorned Ganon into that game, but Zant should have been the main villain. That was bullshit. Because like Zant was like he had personality, he was interesting, and then it was like.
but you can't have a
and then-
Zelda without Ganon.
You know
You
what
can't-
fucking happened, Thurman? Have you played Twilight Princess or no?
I have. It's one of my favorites. I've never beat it though, but I played it a little bit.
So at the end of that game, you know what the fuck happens with Zant? He gets Madara. Like Ganondorf comes out as Kaguya and fucking stabs Zant. And it's like, actually, it's me. And then his like the boss battle with Ganon is like half as hard. Like it's so easy compared to the Zant one. It's so stupid.
Yeah, well, Nintendo's it has to be King Dedede, it has to be Bowser, has to be,
Miyamoto came in and he's like, I know this ain't even my game, but actually it is, isn't it?
No story.
Yeah.
But because like so back to what I was saying, it's like a good like boss battle like has to have like good music, a setting that like you can feel the emotion, has to have good like gameplay or choreography, like have a good like little because let's be honest, some boss battles are very boring in the sense of like they're very like one dimensional, like the bosses like and this is for like in any genre, like the bosses like attack patterns are so predictable and like so like
Yeah, it's most Sonic bosses, by the way.
Yeah, true. I wasn't gonna say it, but you did. Sonic bosses are literally boring as shit.
I'm thinking of the Sonic 06 playthrough I watched with Game Grumps, and it's like they'll shoot a missile, and then it's like you gotta wait and tap A at the right time, and then you'll jump on the missile, and then you'll like swing around the missile, and then like fucking redirect it to him or something. It's like, and it's that 3 times in a row until you win.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that shit is ass.
So like, just to play on this conversation here a little bit, like it's like fighting the first Baron of Hell encounter in Doom 2016 versus fighting the Spider Mastermind at the end of it. Like the atmosphere of Baron of Hell was just like, oh shit, I'm completely underpowered here. How am I going to beat this thing? Versus like, oh, I have the BFG. Boom, 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 dead.
Yeah. So, I do just before. I'm not sure how long Thurman has, but we got to make sure to talk about One Piece before he leaves. So,
I do not have long because I have to call my lift here in a little bit.
Right.
we know when you want to talk about that.
So the two big things here like is that One Piece discussion you guys have to have, and then Spider-Man No Way Home. Like those are the two big overlying topics we need to talk about. Like we have to at this point.
What do you guys want to start with?
I guess you guys can kind of talk One Piece really quick because that's
All right, Thurman.
something I can just sit back and just monitor audio.
All right, sit back, beat your dick, and we'll be here.
Okay. His dick already got beaten already. He's dead.
It's dead at this point.
Oh, dude, I got to. You know what? I'm not gonna talk about this.
No, you brought it up. You gotta.
Sex. They both had sex earlier today. That's why they took so long.
I'm not gonna say anything.
I did not beat my dick today because I don't know why.
Well,
it's
it's
winter. You're horny and seasonal depression.
Anyway, Thurman.
Bro, low key, right? Low fucking key though. Like I will, like, bro. So this girl I went to high school with hit me up.
Is it something you want to talk about on the podcast, Thurman? Just making sure.
I mean, and it's nothing too big. I mean, it's a person that I missed hit me up, so I'm talking to her. Well, I mean, she has to hit me up again, but you know, just
All right.
anyways, it's wholesome.
Good luck. Anyway, so Thurman, with One Piece, it's been a bit since we talked about it. Do you want to talk a bit about the recent plot developments, and then we can kind of go into my issues?
Yeah, sure. Cause I forgot you have a hot take, don't you?
Yeah, I got a bit of a hot take about One Piece. Yeah. Or David, can you write down the timestamp for me so I can put it in the comments for people?
Okay.
You know,
27 minutes.
Perfect. All right. But first, let's talk. So, like, it's been so long since we talked about One Piece. I don't even remember. Like, what should we talk about first, right? So, I guess so. The Sanji fight and the Zoro fight, they're done. I guess we should just get right at. What do you think? What are you thinking? Tell me your thoughts.
Sanji fight was kind of ass.
True.
I'm not gonna lie. It was cool, but at the same time, it's like for a Sanji fight, especially with the stakes of like his like. Also, I'm sorry, but the fact that spoilers 221 that it was confirmed that Sanji didn't actually hit the girl, low key kind of like ruined the whole feel of it because like. At that point, there was no point of him destroying his thermal chute. I mean, I guess you could argue. I guess there was, but at the same time, it's just like it felt to me. It felt sort of like a cop out.
Yeah, that's a classic Oda cop out. This is Oda. I love him to death, but this is the same shit he did with Pell. The same shit he did. I'm trying to think of other ones. The fucking Igaram. The same like he. I'll be honest. Like I wish we would have done a review. You just have to believe me on this. I knew immediately that it was going to be like, we may have even talked about this. I was pretty confident that it was going to be like, oh, it was actually Queen, or oh, he was a misunderstanding. He ran into her. You know what I mean? Like, of course, Oda, I love the man to death, but Oda is very scared of taking his characters out of the little fucking boxes he's made for them. You know what I mean? Like, they all have their character, and like, yeah, so no, I agree. It's fucking very disappointing. And like,
yeah, I was just like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, that's fine.
To me, it felt like a cop out. You know what I mean? Because one of the best parts about it was the fact that it was going to be a game changer for Sanji. Literally, the whole point of it was the fact that Sanji, like, literally, because that inner monologue he had was so cool. It was just like it legitimately, like, it makes a lot of sense, right? Like.
What kind of man would you rather have? Someone who can just kill all your opponents, or would you rather have me, who I like my weak mentality? Yeah.
Like, because Sanji's right? Like, it was such a great internal monologue, and it's crazy because the whole talk about Zoro, like, if I ever become a monster, I want you to kill me.
I
like
know.
That it was like, but like it felt like just from the fact that it was like, oh shit, it was actually Queen, that ruined the whole thing for me.
Yeah, well, you know, people are so like Joy Boy, like the theorist YouTubers, they're coping hardcore because they're prey. You know, like I see these YouTubers and they're like, yeah, but like the way writing works, it would be stupid to like set that shit up with Zoro and have it go nowhere. So these theory YouTubers, they're like, in my opinion, they're coping hardcore. They're like, oh well, this will probably come back. Maybe he'll lose control later. And I'm like, I don't know.
You know,
I hope so.
At that point, like, what was the fucking point of even doing it in the first place? You know what I mean? Because I'm just like, it's fucked up that the fact that, you know, oh shit. Because I think one of the best parts about at the start of the whole thing was Sanji's inner monologue was great. Because the fact that he destroyed a German suit, which will factually help Luffy become the king of the pirates.
Yeah,
like those,
phenomenal.
like he, because like let's be honest, everyone else got a boost, right? Sanji's literally the only one out of the whole crew who's literally struggling, like not really say necessarily like struggling, but who needed a boost, right? And he got it by the German suit, but obviously he doesn't like it because, you know, his dad, blah 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 blah. But it was just like the fact that he destroyed it was so cool because it meant a lot more than just, oh, I fuck my family, I'm not like them. It was more so like, hey, what does Luffy need? Someone who's like perverted, goofy, but can kick ass, or a killing machine who can help him kill his enemies faster, you know? And it was just such a great monologue for Sanji's character because at the first time in his life, he was considering maybe his philosophy of hitting women was the right one. You know what I mean? Because let's be honest, let's take he's been fucked up many times because he wouldn't hit a woman, right? And you know,
Khalifa.
like Khalid Khalifa, you know, he almost died for that. Nami had to fight her. You know, there was the
Violet, I think was her name Violet from Dressrosa?
Yeah, there was and even in this
Pudding, the whole thing with Pudding.
Yeah, the whole thing with Pudding, and then like this arc where he had to call Robin. Oh, it worked out in the end. But
that was a great moment, by the way.
That was a great moment. Don't get me wrong, but even still, right? Like, you know, like if he would have just fucked her over from the start, it would have been easier. Because let's be honest, Sanji easily.
Sanji definitely could have beaten her. Yeah, it would have been like, I'd say low dim. It wouldn't have been a one shot, but he could have beaten her for sure.
Yeah. So and that was such a great moment for Sanji because it's like shit. Maybe he was literally starting to question his philosophy a little bit, but now it's just like, oh, his queen did it. Ha ha ha. Sanji doesn't change. His whole monologue was pointless.
And honestly, that is one of Oda's main weaknesses as a writer. Like and this is why when people say like Luffy doesn't have much development, like there's a little bit there, but there's not, like that's not totally false. Those claims, like you know what I mean? Like Oda. To me, it seems like Oda gives them huge development in their first introductory arc, right? So, like, you know, when they're getting introduced, you get their flashback, all that shit, and then they just remain the same. And then maybe if you're lucky, you get something like, I think Sanji's like secondary bit of development was Whole Cake Island. That was good for him. But like his characters are pretty static. They say, and this is why, this is one of my many hot takes on One Piece. Why I will say I think Fire Force has better characters than One Piece. Because they have the similar like, you know, like silly, over the top, goofy characters with little different quirks, but they're able to like grow, evolve, change, do things that you won't expect because, you know, that's how people are. They're not always the exact same. You know, like they're not all Bugs Bunny where like they're gonna act the same every single week. Like so, yeah, you know, I miss that. And like I think like what's the harm of having Sanji have a momentary lapse of like the suit made him hit a woman. And then he immediately is like he immediately does everything he could possibly do to make that better. He breaks the suit. He goes up to her and says, you know, like he could say, I'm so sorry. Like this is explain the situation. I broke the suit. I'm willing to die for the mistake I just caused. But instead, it's got to be like, no, he didn't do it. So yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah. Also, the fight was very boring too. To be honest.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like
it was just him kicking him about, like literally it was Queen was like, I stole your parents or your family's technology, I have it. He swung him around a little bit and then Sanji's like, oh cool, you hit him, all right, I'll just kick you a bunch now as you're trying to like beat up a woman. Bam, done. Like it's just, this is supposed to be like the number 3 fight. This is supposed to be the fight like with Jabra or like the Mr. 2 fight. It's just, and I think I'll be honest, a lot of that comes down to the art, man. And this is where my hot take comes in. Oda's art, I'm sorry, I think it's been like this whole arc, it's been hit or miss. Like, and when it hits. Don't get me wrong. Like the double spread of Onigashima when they first come in, it's phenomenal. Like there are parts where it hits when Oda wants to, and I get it. He's a busy guy. He's getting old. He wants to finish this series. He's overworked. Totally not his fault. I understand that.
He's really
but, like,
putting a lot down on the shoulders of the animators here, and I feel like this is kind of like what you guys were talking about the last time I was in one of these videos with you guys. Is when you guys kind of just said it's almost like he sat down with Toei and just slapped his meat on the fucking desk and said, "No, we're not going to make mid-piece anymore. We're going to ramp up the quality
I
here,
think that's
flesh it
why
out."
the anime is much better now, because I think he knows that he can't do the fights justice. Because, like, and I want Thurman's take on this, I really do, because, like, I think that, like, these fights are making, even the Zoro fight, honestly, I felt almost nothing reading that. Like, so please,
honestly. To be completely fair, though, I think I did call this at the beginning, like, because I did feel like some of the lower fights of the arc were sort of, like, I wouldn't say ass, but sort of like eh. Like, remember I told you this, like the Jinbei fight, the Robin fight, like those fights, like Frankie fight, like they were just boring to me.
They were just too quick.
Yeah, like they didn't feel like usual One Piece fights to me. Like they just felt like Oda was trying to rush them and get them out the way, so he can like focus on like the Luffy Kaido shit. And I hate that shit because one of the best parts about One Piece
is that everyone has a moment to shine, always. Yeah.
And hashtag my hero could never. So like it just fucking sucks because like one of Oda's main strong suits is the fact that he knows how to make a big cast of characters and use them well. And he's like the leader of that shit because Tabata does it well, and a few others do it well. So it's just kind of like seeing like the god of that like sort of dip in quality when it comes to that kind of stuff is heartbreaking, because Oda knows how to make his characters lovable 100%. So it's just kind of like, ugh, like bro, and the fights were like so boring, dude, like so boring, like. Like, I'm not going to say this arc is bad. I just feel the quality of, like, I think it's just like you guys said, Oda's trying to finish as fast as he can. But it's just like, it's just at this point, it feels like these fights have just been, like, specifically, like, with, like, the lower half. Like, the Kaido and, like, Big Mom fights, like, Kid versus Kaido, Kid versus, like, Big Mom and shit is fire. But, like, any other
the
strong
rooftop fight was great too, and the art was good on that shit too. Like you can tell where he's focusing.
Yeah, but it's just like this one is just like kind of like meh to me. Like I don't know where the anime is at right now, but
the anime is where is the anime at right now? I know the scabbards are done fighting. It's got to be getting close to the rooftop shit. So I gotta watch when that shit hits.
It's just like, bro, like come on.
Well, here's what I'll say, right? Like one, I'm definitely gonna get. I gotta get back to the anime because I think that the anime. I really do think that the anime is gonna do these fights justice because they have been. But like really, like I genuinely wish that I could like return to being an anime only. Like part of me really wishes that, you know, because do you feel this? I feel like Oda, he's gone too big. You know, like there's too much going on. Because I feel like he has to like every chapter. It's like a page. It's like. And this is happening, and this is happening over here, and this, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like, I've been watching the Water 7 Enies Lottie arc. That's where I'm at with Allie now, right? The best arc of the series. I don't give a damn what anyone says, okay? And that arc, you want to know what's so special about that arc? It's incredibly emotionally connected and attached to the main characters. Everything that's happening, every fight, there's some sort of emotional attachment. And it's not jumping around between, like, here's what fucking, I don't know, Kiku is doing. Here's what Raizo is doing. Here's, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to fucking handle that shit because it'd be like if he tried to make the Frankie family like integral characters. Like, here's an entire fucking fight that we have to deal with the Frankie family. It's like, no, they just handled grunts and they moved on, right? There's too much. There's too much like going on at once. So, which is why my prayer, and I really hope that Oda's gonna do this. I hope that the next arc. The black whenever the Blackbeard arc is, whenever they're dealing with Blackbeard, either that or Elbath, one of those two arcs, I am praying that Oda does a return to form and he just lowers the stakes a little, like just not the stakes, lowers the cast, right? Like I want it to just go back to, it doesn't need to be a 5,000 person versus 20,000 person war. It doesn't need to have, 30,000 things going on at once. I want it to be a low scale, like Jaya Skypiea-esque story where there's like 10 main characters we got to deal with and that's it. Like I really do think that that's the issue. He's been focusing on too much at once, and he's going quantity over quality, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel that. It's definitely interesting because Oda has this tendency to, because I don't really mind that it's necessarily overloaded. It's a war arc, like some structure is going to be hard to essentially like cover, but like I definitely feel you because it feels like that it hasn't really been the same in return to like the fights, because one of the best parts about One Piece is the fights, hands down. Like there's a reason why like fucking people compare One Piece fights to like Dragon Ball, Yu Yu Hakusho, Golden Contention, shit like that, like some of the greats of the fights, because One Piece has some of the best fight choreographies in the world. Even when we're like in 60s, kids will be talking about dirty ass One Piece fights, like fucking the amazing shit, right? Not the amazing, AMAs, right? But right. It's just like Oda, for some reason, it's just been so like, cause the King of Zoro fight is actually pretty cool, but it's just like usually we'll get like some sort of like, and one reason why I didn't like the fucking Sanji fight was that it was very
easy.
Not even easy. It was a very
easy to me.
Like emotional time for Sanji. Like it was a time where Sanji was fighting against someone who wanted him to be someone of his family so badly, and it felt like he was giving it to it. I guess you're right, too easily. And I didn't feel the emotion because all the emotion was killed towards the end, and it felt like he was just like, oh shit, I didn't actually do it. Bah, 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 bah. Bad now. Like, nigga, what that make any sense?
Yeah, well, so like low key, dude, these fights have been so bad that like, so Mr. Morge, he's a really, really good One Piece theorist. I love his videos a lot. These fights have been so bad that he has this theory that he's been sticking to for years now, that the raid is gonna fail. Like he still thinks the raid's gonna fail because he's like, these fights are too easy. This is not Oda quality at all. So either he's like dropped off hardcore, or this is all a plan. That he's coping. Like they're all coping hardcore right now. Like, and one of the things that I noticed too, I love this. The Reddit was bringing this up, and so was Mr. Morge. Normally at this stage in a fight with like think like the Luffy Kaido fight, right? People on the Reddit were showing like Luffy's demeanor throughout most of the fights he has. Rob Lucci, Eneru, Doflamingo, all of these fights. Normally he's really angry and pissed off. You know what I mean? Normally he drops the funny haha and he gets serious, right? But still, even as recently as the last chapter, he's just like laughing and giggling. Like it doesn't feel high stakes to me. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't feel that way. And that's what I'm waiting for. That's what I wanted with the Zoro and Sanji fight. There was never a moment where I was like, oh my God, they might die here. Or, oh my God, they might lose here. Because I don't know if you remember, Oda can write a good fight. Like as recently as Katakuri Luffy. Let's talk like literally the best fight in the series. You agree with me on that, right? Katakuri Luffy, best fight series?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like think about that fight. Do you remember when he got like a good chunk of his stomach ripped out?
Uh-huh.
He got like and then Luffy, super serious. And then they have that moment where like his family is laughing at him. And Luffy's like, the peanut gallery's getting a little fucking loud, aren't they? And Katakuri's like, couldn't agree more. And they both fucking conquerors hockey them down. There's not been any moments like that where it's like, oh shit, like the emotional weight is huge. And Luffy's serious. He's dropped the goofy and he's serious. And like, it just doesn't feel right. Something feels off about all the fights in this final arc. It just doesn't feel like Oda. And either it's some master plan. I would love that. And the one last thing I got to say, too, right? There was that one line from Hyugoro. Remember Hyugoro, the old guy?
Yeah.
There's that line that just feels like it's like teasing us, right? Like, it's almost too obvious, where he says, he's looking around and he's like, wow, shit's going really well. I can't even imagine losing. You remember that line?
Yeah.
That was said And in my mind, I'm like, oh, they're setting up for like a big moment where they're like, fucked. That still hasn't happened. Since that moment, all we've gotten from the CP0 has been like, oh yeah, now Kaido's down to 15,000. Now Kaido's down to 10,000. Oh my god, now they're down to 2,000. You know what I mean? Like, it's just been pure. They're winning. So to me, the only two options that make sense, if we're gonna trust in Goda, is either A, Kaido, because like you have that CP0 line in the most recent chapter where they're like, well, as long as Big Mom and Kaido are up, they can very easily still win this, right? So either A, Big Mom and Kaido are gonna go fucking crazy mode and just wipe out everybody somehow, or B, and honestly I wouldn't mind this, the Straw Hats barely win against the Kaido Pirates, and then the government comes in and fuck shit up. Like, but something has to happen where they get their shit rocked, because this arc's it's felt too easy to me. And last thing I'll say is, because people will be like, oh, but look how long it is. What more do you want? It's not about the length. It's about, like, when you're reading it, like, the emotions are high. Like, they feel like, oh my god, have you guys really, have any of you felt like, oh my god, they're not going to win this? Like, there hasn't been a single moment where I felt that in this entire arc. So yeah, go ahead.
Nah, bro, I definitely agree with what you're saying. It's definitely been a interesting situation in this arc, because I mean, let's be completely honest here. Like, there's definitely hasn't been a situation to where it really felt like we were actually, in a struggle. You know what I mean?
Like, and Oda knows how to do that, because the Katakuri fight certainly felt that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even the initial fight with Kaido. You remember when he thought fucking Kaido like spirit bombed the fucking the entire crew, and he went up there all pissed and shit. That was good too. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're right. I definitely agree with you. It was just it was just kind of honestly, we've been shitting on it too much, but
I think you shit on it an adequate amount.
So yeah, no, I mean, it's strange, right? Like, I just don't know. My hope and prayer is that there's going to be a moment where, like, we doubted Goda, and like, oh my god, it was all the master plan. Like, I hope so. I hope that's what happens. We'll see. But like, and it's possible, because like Goda has done that before, but I don't know. I mean, we'll just have to
for him, but it's right now. Like, I'm not going to say it's bad, but it's just very not. The quality has definitely dimmed down since the early of the arc.
Yeah, because we were so hyped in the beginning of Onigashima, because anything was possible. You know what I mean? But then, like,
do you think the de-escalation has been just too much, or is it just that natural feel?
Because I mean, like, this arc's definitely. I'm not gonna say it's been too much, because there's a war arc. I mean, it has to be. I'm gonna say too much, but it has to be that sort of like high sort of like thing going on. But,
so it's a deflated form of escalation here that you're dealing with in One Piece, right?
Well, what I'm confused about, to me, it's like, if Oda wanted to, he could. All he has to do, to me, to make this feel believable, is have them either really struggle, like have them feel like, because it's just weird. Like, you set up, it's so weird that I'm like convinced that he has to be like playing some long game, because like he sets this up like these guys are the strongest, and then they're beating them in like one chapter each. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like I said, David, the weirdest part to me, imagine you're reading a story, David, and the good guys are winning, and some guy pops up and he's like, wow, the good guys sure really are winning super easily. I can't even imagine losing. This is
so like season 8 of Game of Thrones.
Maybe, but like I'm talking like literally in universe, a character said, this is so easy, I can't imagine losing. And to me, Oda's done this before. This is a typical anime trope where it's like, wow, I can't even imagine losing right now. And then they get their shit fucked, right? So like I've been expecting them to get their shit fucked since that chapter, and nothing's that. So like either...
I mean, Luffy lost once.
Yeah, and I keep holding on to hope, but as we keep going, more and more of the Beast Pirates are dropping, and I'm like, what the fuck?
That's
like,
weird.
They got more fucked up against like Sabaody Archipelago. They got more fucked up. They honestly, I'm trying to think. I think they got more. I think Baroque Works was harder for them.
That's
Probably,
wild.
Like, so it's
That's
just
really funny.
either. I guess I'll end off on this. Oh, and then the one last thing I got to say too. It's not just the storytelling. His art has I think his art's gotten even worse in the past like 2 months. I think it's even worse than it has been. I think his art has gotten to the point where I'm like, what is even happening right now? And I watched King of Lightning's live reactions, and he's doing the same thing. He's like, I can't tell what's happening right there. Like, what is this an attack? Is he moving? You know what I mean? Like,
So it's like late game Togashi art style.
I don't on like it's not as bad. Like it's not like horrible like Togashi level. But it's like
so
during the fight scenes,
like JJK style.
Yeah, I was about to say, think JJK level art.
Okay.
Think JJK level quality.
So
of
here's
art.
a good example, Thurman. And I sent you a couple screenshots of Water 7 art. But like, do you remember the Sea Train part when they're going through and they're fighting Wanze and they're trying to get to the fucking to the cart with Robin? You remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember before they get to any of like the big name people? Sanji has to fight random no-name Marines, and one of them was like a big tall guy with boxing gloves. Do you remember that guy?
Yeah.
Okay, go literally. I'll send you the chapter when I get home. That fight has significantly better art than any of these mainline fights. There's like literally like a double-page spread of Sanji kicking that guy into the ground of the train. And it's beautiful, and it's gorgeous, and you can feel the impact, and it's so good to read. Oda, I'm telling you, man, I don't think he can draw anymore. Like, I think if he wanted to, he can, but I just think he's either so sick of it that he just doesn't even give a fuck anymore. Like, I know he loves his story, but, like, he might honestly be leaning a little too hard into the anime for these fights. I think he's honestly just like, yeah, I'll focus on one good fight and arc, and then let the anime handle the rest. Because it's
I think because I think is this the longest arc in the series? It might be.
Yeah,
Maybe.
it already is.
Kind of.
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
It surpassed Dressrosa around like 1014, I think.
Oh, really? So yeah, it's the longest arc in the series. So he's probably definitely feeling the burnout.
Yeah, and like I don't mean to be mad at him because he's a great author and I love him to death, but it's just like to me, either take a huge break or get like a bunch of editor assistants, man. Like I'm not gonna pretend like I know what's going on, but it's just please don't drop the ball now. When you're right at the end, your series has been so good. It's like
Yeah, I mean, like it hasn't like we're starting to see the signs. As I think is the main issue. Everyone's starting to see the signs, and I think that's like the ultimate like, oh shit, okay, maybe we should be worried sort of thing because at this point in time now, we're starting to see Oda sort of like time catch up with him.
yeah.
And you know, he's been doing the series for like a decade now, 25 years.
2 decades. 2.5 decades.
So I'm not gonna act like, you know, like this man has been going through it. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah.
This is why I like in our fucking Black Clover video, Thurman. I'm like, I don't picture Tabata wanting to actually go this long. Like, I know he's talked about wanting to go, you know, 1,000+ chapters, but I don't think
he's
he
probably exaggerating. Like he could go like 10 years or something. Like have a reasonable like a fairy tale length series or something.
I don't think Tabata could stretch Black Clover to this level, or we'd end up having the same conversation with Black Clover down the line. I kind of felt that, you know, the last few chapters of that. So I'm hoping, you know, from my limited One Piece experience, that we don't see it come to this, because Tabata's arc can already be a little bit, you know, mid. I hate to say it, but when he wants to draw, he can draw, just like Oda can. And you know, there's no anime for Black Clover to lean into currently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I will say is I really do think a lot of it is down to the art, because like I don't know if you could even tell Thurman because of like how the art is, but like Sanji did get a new attack. Like he upgraded his Diable Jambe. You know what I mean? And like I feel like
I can't even fucking tell.
yeah, exactly. So like I saw, so basically he talked about how because the improvements of his suit have kind of gotten into his DNA now. So now he's got like the hardened exoskeleton and the speed boost. So because of that, because of his harder skin, he can like put more heat on his leg. So it's highly implied because people were looking at like the shading of the flame, it's highly implied that the flame is probably like a blue flame or something, or a white flame, because the translation was like white hot something or whatever. So it probably but again, the art doesn't convey that. It didn't look like shit. He's just like kicking him a bunch, and it's like we don't even see it. But because like in the past, like go back to when Diablo Jambe first showed up, like you see the flame and you see how it looks. So I really do think a lot of it is down to the art, because it's not conveying the impact of these kicks. When I get home, I'm like 5 minutes away from home. It's snowy as fuck over here. When I get home, I'm gonna send you the page where he kicks that random grunt guy on the train, and that shit has more impact than almost any panel from this entire fucking Onigashima arc. Okay, that's all I'm saying. So I really do think if the art was just better, these fights would go from like a 2 out of 10 to like at least a 6 out of 10, with no writing change, just the art better. And that's just the art, honestly.
All right. So
okay. Anything else to talk about with One Piece before we move on, Thurman? Any final thoughts?
Hashtag cancel Kontrolled Khaos down in the comments.
Say again, Thurman.
The Uber's on the way. Well, last thing I will say on a positive note is I do think I am still enjoying what we've been given, but like I think we've been saying, the cracks have been showing for One Piece, and I hope it sort of dies down a bit, because we do love the series, and it's like shit, man. I'd be so upset if Oda fumbled the bag.
Yeah, me too.
Because like, it's just unfortunate, but a lot of manga series don't know how to finish, like, end on a high note when it comes to shit. Sometimes it's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Look at Attack on Titan.
I do think a lot of it comes down to like, it's just so taxing on them that by the time they get to the end, they're like, oh, I gotta get done. It's like that, when you're in like a foot race and you see the finish line in sight and you just start fucking sprinting. You're like, I'm so tired. I think it might be a bit of that. So fine, this is what I'll end off on. I really do think that we're just going to have to start like transitioning over. Like there's going to be certain things that we're going to have to go over and watch in the anime. You know what I mean? So I'm going to start going over, like, for these fights, when these fights happen, I'm going to have to just go and watch them in the anime to get the emotions I wanted to get. So yeah. And then the other thing, in terms of the manga, I'm just praying that the government comes in at the end of this arc and kicks their shit in, so we can have a bit of like an emotional moment, and it didn't just feel too easy. So yeah, that's my take on that.
All right. Yep. So Spider-Man
this week. Cause I think everything is everything. Well, chapters are tomorrow, so
yeah.
Do we have chapters tomorrow? I don't think so.
Yep. They were on
I thought
break.
It was like a 2-week break.
It was a 2-week break, 7-8 days ago.
I think you're wrong. I'm pretty sure that there's no chapter.
Let me just click on a random series here. Dr. Stone, new chapter coming in 2 days.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that. So with the holidays, the Raws come out quicker. So I've already read the newest One Piece chapter. I forgot it wasn't out yet.
Yeah.
So yeah. So you're probably So yeah. What Thurman? What's the last thing you've seen on One Piece?
The Sanji fight, probably.
So you didn't see the end of the Zoro fight yet?
No.
Oh, I've been talking about that.
I haven't read. I've been ducking Twitter and well, I mean, I haven't really been ducking it, but every time I almost got spoiled for Black Clover, but I ducked that shit massively faster than light. So
the last thing you would have seen with Zoro was when he cut that big ass dragon thing in half, right? His like magma dragon. Okay.
Yeah. So the fight's over now. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
That's, oh god. All right.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
So now that you know that, right? You see why I'm pissed?
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
So I've seen the Raws of that in the wild. Strangely, I somehow saw One Piece Raws on my Twitter timeline. I'm like, ooh, now I see why Red's pissed, because
just
that.
Go ahead, sorry.
That's just insane. Like that lasted what, 2 chapters, 3 chapters in the.
Basically, yeah. I mean, like there was, I don't know.
Going back. It was going back. It would go back and forth between like King, Sanji, King, Queen, King, and like.
I think that's a big issue too. Is that like Oda refuses to just sit down in one area and let us watch a fight play through. I think that's literally a big issue too, because like in the past, you just like, let's finish this fucking fight. All this hopping back and forth, like I can't get like emotionally invested anymore.
I think what he's trying to convey is like all these battles being like simultaneously fought in the war, but even with fucking Hunter x Hunter, for example, during the Chimera Ant arc, like you sat down and fucking focused. Like it's insane.
Yeah, it's just to me, it's the level. It's how often he's fucking switching back and forth to me, because like it's not just like, oh, half a chapter this fight, half a chapter that fight. There are chapters where there'll be like 10 separate scenes where it's like 2 pages for this, 2 pages for this, 2 pages for this. So it's like, and now we jump here, and now we jump here. Fuck that shit. Like you saw, I retweeted Fuya. Fuya was talking about that shit, and like, yeah, that's an issue. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Okay.
Because even though the fight, because Thurman's right, the fight, it's been going for a bit, you know, and they've been moving locations, and they were fighting in the main stage, and now they're outside. But like when it's jumping back and forth, it feels shorter. So that, combined with the fact that there's not like a lot of emotion shit going on, combined with the fact that the art's bad, it's all that shit together.
Yeah, it's a compilation of fuckery.
We've been getting such good information that's been confirmed, specifically for Zoro. Now we know that Zoro got his sword from someone from Wano. That was huge, but no one's talking about it because the fights get pushed around too goddamn much. Like that, I'm shocked. Like on Twitter, I haven't seen talking about the fact that the long theory of Zoro's master has been confirmed. Like literally, people were hyped about that shit for the longest of times, and it was finally confirmed like 2 weeks ago, I think, and no one's talking about it.
Really, honestly, what it comes down to is pacing. Like Oda, Thurman, really, you pay for the shonen shit, right? You can like go on the Viz app and read it all.
Yep.
I'm begging you, go to a random fucking arc, pre-time skip arc. Go to a random chapter and read. You'll be shocked at how little shit happens in one chapter. A single Oda back then, with the Sea Train shit, a single chapter was Sanji just fighting the grunts and that weird boxing guy in the one car. That was one chapter. And like he, you know, and you see him moving around with these grunts and like kicking the guns out of their hands and fucking, and it's just, that's it. It's Sanji fighting the grunts, one chapter. Because back then he had time and he used his time to really put you in the zone. But now it doesn't feel like we're sitting there going through this with these characters. It feels like we're like this weird like god, like watching from above and like flipping the channel, like that board, next channel, that board, next channel, that board, next channel. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So yeah, it's fucked up. Honestly, I'm just praying that the anime fixes it. Like, because I'm watching through One Piece with Allie right now. When I get to Wano in the anime, I'm hoping that I've been hearing that the pacing's way better in Wano. Like, you know what they did in the beginning of Wano? Before they even cut to like where all the Straw Hats were, they had a whole episode about like Zoro, just like traveling around Wano, like because like you know how when we first see Zoro in the manga, Thurman, like he's about to get like seppuku'd, like he's about to get like they're making him stab himself because of that whole sword theft shit.
Yep.
Like in the anime, there's a whole ass episode leading up to like how he got there. Like he's like traveling around Wano and shit, and like seeing the country. Like they, from what I hear, the pacing's way better in the anime.
Yeah, he's probably relying on the anime because a lot of people have been telling me, even my coworkers have been telling me the anime has been fucking phenomenal.
Well, my Uber's here, so I have to cut this short. It was nice talking to you guys. Enjoy your Spider-Man review. I will see you guys next week.
Yeah.
All right, peace out, man.
Peace out there.
Lift boxes for Daddy Bezos.
All right.
All right, Red. You, me, Spider-Man.
All right.
So, I'm just going to preface this. I did talk a little bit about this on the last stream I did over on the Twitch. So, there's a lot I want to talk about here, and I don't want to drag this on to where this is like a 2-hour video.
Yeah, I'm sitting in the parking lot of a grocery store right now too, so I can get something to make for dinner. So maybe like 20 minutes max.
Yeah, I have.
We're in it, guys. If you haven't seen it by now, like what the fuck?
Right, like it's been out for almost a month at this point. Like, what the fuck you doing?
Definitely not a month, but maybe like half a month.
Almost 3 weeks, actually.
That's not true. December 17th is when it came out.
Okay, Fuck you.
I mean, that's just facts. What the fuck? How dare I correct you?
How dare you correct me, the lord of this channel?
So honestly, dude, no structure. We ain't professionals here. Let's just fucking just jump back and forth between our favorite moments. You go. Favorite moments. Tell me about it.
So, like, you and I had like a 25-minute conversation as I was leaving the theater, just where we all think this is going to go, where like our brain structure was just all over the place, because you had just seen it like a week before me. I just was fresh out of there. Like, I love the body like you. I love the body slam with fucking.
We'll start there.
Yeah.
Green got Willem Dafoe, God tier. All
right.
I didn't think I'd live in a world where I didn't think I'd live in a world where an MCU movie would have better action than a Matrix movie. But this new Matrix, tragically, cannot compete with the Green Goblin.
Right.
And you know why that is too. So the scene we're talking about is a scene where because like really that final fight with all the three Spider-Man, that's great. But I'm gonna have an unpopular opinion. I'm gonna be like an edgelord and have an interesting opinion here. Best fight in the movie is that apartment fight with Green Goblin.
Oh, I kind of agree, and I'm going to talk more about that when we get to that like final fight, because I love what they did with that, but I have a few little nitty picks there as well. But
what I want to say is literally so the two moments that like gave me chills. Okay, the one is when he's on his shoulders. He's like on his shoulders punching the shit out of him. And you know he's not holding back there. And we know what Spider-Man can do when he's not holding back his punches.
Right.
So he's like punching the shit out of Green Goblin. And the first two punches, he reacts like a normal person would react to being punched. He's got this like shocked like face. And it's like and then the third punch, he recoils and his face comes back and he's got the most evil grin, like he's enjoying it. And he's just like unflinching to the punches as he keeps smiling. Oh my god!
And then just the fucking Brock Lesnar style body slam through the fucking concrete floor.
Yeah, and then it led into him body slamming him like 6 floors through an apartment building. Fucking Willem Dafoe, I cannot believe how good of an actor he is. Like absolute standout in this movie. Incredible, and a lot of it's the face. Like literally, I can't remember the last time a movie gave me chills, like actual chills. Like that scene where like he does that smile, the face actually like got to me, like on a level. Like I was like I screamed, like I screamed in the theater. It reminded me, David, did I ever show you Parasite by Bong Joon-ho?
We watched it together, yeah.
I showed you all of it.
Yeah, we sat down and we watched it together like
nice.
a year ago.
Remember that? Do you remember the scene where the guy was like living in their basement? Remember? Mm-hmm. Do you remember when it's like showing like why the kid has like PTSD and out he got up at like midnight to get like some cake or whatever? And then like and then the guy like in the darkness, the movie goes full silent, no music, no sound effects, and you just see his face like rise up in complete darkness. It's like one of those moments where like something just visual, you wouldn't think that just pixels on a screen could make you feel like fear, but like bruh, like Willem Dafoe went fucking hard at the acting, all right? Like, and sometimes Green Goblin can be a little over top, like, but like that smile, like in the original Sam Raimi ones, it was so campy that I was like, okay, he's just a silly little comic book villain. But in this one, there were moments of camp, but there were also moments where he really sold me on this guy's just mentally damaged. Like this guy is
as you would be if you find out that you came back from the dead technically and just got blipped back into this universe simply because you know the secret of a character. It really played well into the plot of the movie, and I straight up gotta give him props. Like having grown up with those movies, I'm like, okay, I'm not expecting a lot out of like those villains. I was definitely not expecting anything out of the Amazing Spider-Man villains that came back, like at all, because those movies were less.
They made Electro pretty powerful. It makes sense that Electro would be into the arc reactors too.
Oh yeah, and that just plays right into his character. They handled so many things so well as a comic book fan, as a fan of Spider-Man himself, as a fan of like all of these movies, having grown up, like even as much as I have a distaste for like especially the second Amazing Spider-Man movie, like it was so refreshing to see like one of the like most over the top villains like kind of steal the show here. And the other thing that I really want to touch on, though, and I don't know if you'll agree with me here, is like now that we've had all three of them together, I still stand by like Tobey Maguire being like the best Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield being the best Peter Parker.
Saying it opposite, unless I just completely disagree with you.
I feel like the snark of Andrew Garfield captured the Peter Parker character better.
No, you're thinking it. It's literally the opposite. It's Andrew Garfield's the best Spider-Man because Spider-Man is the one with the snarky quips. Peter Parker is the nerdy dork.
You're not as big of a comic guy. Like, there's moments of like that. Yeah, obviously, like Spidey is the snarky jackass, but like Peter Parker, especially post Gwen's death, is the snarky I don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, I think because like there's a famous tweet, and the famous tweet is like Andrew Garfield's the best Spider-Man, and Tobey Maguire is the best Peter Parker.
Maybe
and then Tom Holland's getting a bit of both.
I would agree with that. Like pre-Gwen dying, I would agree with that pre-Gwen dying. But like in the
yeah, I'm
kingdom,
just talking about because what Toby's really good at is that awkward. Like he's very awkward, and they captured that really well in this. I was watching very closely to see how they were going to capture each individual like personality. And when he walks through the portal and he's just like, "Oh, I just stepped through and oh, it's closed." He's so awkward.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But like,
there's a guy doing donuts in the parking lot of this fucking grocery store right now. By the way,
that's hilarious. That's just pure Michigan right there.
Wow.
That was a little bit more meta than I wanted it to be, but okay.
Anyway, as you were saying.
But like in the canon of these movies, like you would have had that I've given up on life, and then you see like the redemption arc kind of coming through for Andrew Garfield's Spidey there. That's why I'm like in the canon of like that arc, like you saw the Peter Parker start giving more of the quippy, like no nonsense, even to like J. Jonah Jameson, to like Harry Osborn in that universe. Like he just didn't care. He would just like he merged personalities basically after Gwen died. So like everything became one. Because he basically just had a mental breakdown. Like I couldn't save. So like he kind of used that Spider-Man personality, and it just played so well into like super PTSD for the comic universe of that. So I think that's kind of what they were going on here. But I really think that like that merged personality really shines through in Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
I really like. I enjoyed how much because they knew how much people like fans wanted to see these Spider-Men talk. So like I love how
to the point where like you had the pointing at each other meme.
Hey Peter Parker. Yeah, incredible stuff. I think so I have favorite lines from both Toby and Andrew. So my favorite line from Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is when it starts off with Tom. Tom's like, "All right guys, I don't want to brag, but I will. I was in the Avengers." And then Toby's like, "Really? That's great. What is that?" Just the delivery of that, phenomenal. Because like honestly, throughout the whole thing, like Tobey Maguire, his acting it's not bad, but it's not like incredible. Like his acting is more understated. It's pretty like chill and quiet. But that was like that was definitely my favorite line read from him. What is that?
It's just so enthusiastic too.
And he was the dad. Like he was the dad for both of them, and I love that because I'm sure you picked up on that. Where like whenever they were depressed, or with Andrew Garfield, kind of like, "Yeah, I suck," and Toby's like, "Hey, no, you don't. You're incredible. You're amazing.
You're amazing."
So that, like, even in that moment where he doesn't know what the fuck the Avengers is, but he takes the time to be like, "Wow, that's very cool." And then my favorite line from Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is when they're talking about all the weird shit they've fought in, and like the other two are talking about the aliens they fought in, and then it just cuts to him very quickly. He's like, "I want to fight an alien."
I
and
love
you see his face when they mention aliens. He's like, "What the fuck?"
You guys got to fight aliens?
No, so wholesome.
I have like three really super meta-y things I loved in that, and one of them is like them talking about the web shooters. And then
I was waiting for that shit.
Right, because like with the biological like jizz out the wrist with Tobey Maguire.
Talking about fucking Tobey Maguire's Russie.
Russie. God damn it. He said
He's
it.
got a Russie.
He said it. God damn it.
Yeah, dude.
But like that was so cool. Like seeing that. I love that they kind of teased what was about to be for like because before they decided to like share ownership of the Spider-Man character. They were originally like when you and I were in college, they were going to do a Amazing Spider-Man 3 and then like a Sinister Six movie there. And we kind of got it here with Andrew Garfield. And they kind of talked about that, like the Rhino being in there and all the fucking shit he was fighting with Electro. And it's just like, it's so cool that they kind of...
Well, no, because remember, he actually did fight the Rhino in that movie. It was right at the very end, yeah.
Yeah. But that was like the setup for the setup for the Sinister Six was like that, and then it was going to lead into
literally the final scene of his Spider-Man movie, his final Spider-Man movie is fighting that fucking guy.
Mm-hmm. Which is like the most horrific design ever. Like,
yeah,
it looked like baby's first cosplay. I hated it. But...
I do love that compared to the other Spider-Man though. He must like, man, my villains are boring as fuck.
Yeah, and then I love like that post-credit scene where you have a drunken Eddie Brock.
Listen, I'm just gonna say, I said it in the theater to Allie, and because Allie, so my girlfriend Allie has a huge crush on the Tom Hardy Eddie Brock Venom combo. Like she just adores them and like she loves them to death. So like kind of low-key bullshit that they weren't in the fight. That's bullshit. I'm sorry.
I do agree with you there. I would have loved to have seen that.
Just a single, you can send them back. I know you need to send them back for legal reasons, I guess, but like just have them be in the fight really quickly. Because what I was hoping for, because obviously Eddie Brock wouldn't give a shit. He wouldn't have any stake in this, but I like the idea that, you know, Venom would be like, that's the guy. We got to get him because of his like Hive 9 knowledge. So like, you know, like he doesn't know who Spider-Man is personally, but he knows that like his like, I don't know, his race has issues with him maybe or something.
Yeah.
Or you could do the thing. Or you could have, because you know how the Venom in those movies wants to be like a hero, like the lethal protectors. I like the idea that because the news is like portraying Peter as like this villain, right? So all like J. Jonah Jameson is like, oh, he's a fucking villain. He killed the greatest hero. So I like the idea that Eddie Brock's, you know, the Eddie Brock Venom or the Tom Hardy Venom is like, that guy's the villain. He's the villain that the TV's talking about. Let's get him, Eddie.
I don't know if he would believe J. Jonah Jameson or just believe that he's like fucking Alex Jones.
But Venom wouldn't know. I don't think Venom would know I don't think he'd understand the concept of news that's trustworthy or not. I think Venom would just be like, villain, let's get him, Eddie. If we take him down, the lethal protectors will be so popular. That would have been funny as fuck. Where like everyone else, they have, you know, like some of the guys are just genuinely evil. Sandman's like, I want to get home. And then
Sandman was over there like, I don't give a shit who wins. I just want to go home.
Yeah, and then so like all of that shit. And then like Eddie, this drunk, greasy man just rocks up and he's like, I don't know why I'm here. I would have fucking loved that.
Like literally, he would not know. He was so inebriated. And the fact that Venom,
yeah.
the Venom is in there because a little jizz speck of the fucking symbiote stay behind at that bar.
I really enjoyed his like. It was fun to see him kind of learn about the MCU. Like, all right, so there was a Tin Man and a green guy that got angry. But no, what I did want to say though is when he stood up and adjusted his coat, it looked like he was twisting his own nipples. It just did.
You've said that twice now, and every time you say it, I cannot unsee it.
It looked like that so much that like I was confused. I was like, what is going on? It was very strange to me. I was like, oh, it took me a second. Like I had to be like, oh, he's adjusting his coat. But it looked like he was like, just like
South Park with fucking Mel Gibson there, just twisting them. But you like this, don't you?
Oh my god, yeah. But that was great. Let's see. Anything else? What else did you want to talk about?
So here's kind of like now with the portal being kind of open, the multiverse being opened, I kind of just want to fucking go full crazy here. This is how they're going to go into all the different Marvel universes here. So like you can go into like the video game universes. You can go into the Ghost Rider universe, pluck a Ghost Rider out. You can go into the fucking X-Men universe and pluck out a fucking Logan. Oh, yeah. This is how they're going to fucking set it up now. It's just a perfect.
For sure, yeah.
It's a perfect play. And let me go into my fucking browser history here really quick.
While you're doing that, I'll say too, like, because like they've been kind of in every single corner of their universe, they've been showing people fucking with the multiverse, right? So
Mhm.
like you have Doctor Strange doing the spell, you have Loki, ending the TVA. You have Wanda fucking with her shit, like just everything all at once is ripping the universe apart essentially. So and I think that's all going to culminate in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Mm-hmm. So in the Ultimate Universe, it kind of doesn't exist anymore. Like, this is where Miles Morales came from. That's Earth 1610. So that's how we can just pluck a version of Miles Morales out of there, since it's still numbered here in the Marvel Encyclopedia, so they could just potentially just like, and this is still canon again. You know what? Fuck it, we don't care. Pluck Iron Man, like Earth 19999 is the MCU universe here, right? So Earth 96283 is one of the universes that they pluck characters from, and 120,703 is another one. Those are the like Amazing Spider-Man and Sam Raimi Spider-Man universes. 10,005 is the X-Men universe, the original X-Men universe, so they could kind of start plucking characters out of. And because we've had rumors of the Ghost Rider coming out, I'm trying to find that here in this fucking 90-page document. That is Earth 121,347. That is the film Ghost Rider franchise. So they rumored to be played by Norman Reedus without the funky fetus. Fantastic Four universe is TRN 554.
I forgot there's a new Doctor Who episode today.
Oh,
sorry,
that exists still.
Yeah, it would take a lot to cancel Doctor Who. It's like Nintendo. You know how Nintendo could be bankrupt or like could lose money for like 50 years and before they went bankrupt.
Right.
Yeah, you'd have to. That show, like on merch alone, they still make bank with Doctor Who.
Oh yeah,
so
absolutely. They just brought out like 10 more Funko Pops. I saw.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Send me those. I want to know what they are.
It's on the Funko Instagram. I don't know how long ago it was because I don't log into social media that often. But
yeah, no, this one actually looks like vaguely interesting. It'll depend on if Chris Chibnall's writing it or if he gives it to some fucking other person. But because essentially we got like 3 more episodes of his era, but unfortunately it's like spread across like a year.
Right.
Like New Year's special, spring special, fall special. Then her doctor finally dies, and then we move on. But this one, it looks like it's like a time loop thing, and I always love that. Like it's like 2 people stuck in like a building with a Dalek chasing them, and they're in a time loop. So maybe it could be interesting. We'll see.
The one where Chris Evans plays Johnny Storm is Earth 121,698.
Dude, yeah, that would be fucking wild. So did you see that news? There was a Marvel leak where they said because of the popularity of the cameos in No Way Home, they're like last second adding more cameos into Doctor Strange.
Oh, I figure that's a thing because that did so well, like it was their test, right?
Yeah.
So there's been 3 Hulks technically. One of them they'll never work with again because Edward Norton's so notorious to be a part of anything. He's kind of blackballed himself from Hollywood by being a stubborn prick from what I've read. So he was the original Hulk in the MCU. Remember when we were trying to review all of them and we're like, this movie exists to introduce like Thunderbolt Ross, who has the overall role and everything. Betty comes in, and then the Hulk. That's basically all that really happens in that movie.
I'm kind of glad that the new actor came, because the actor that they have now is actually a really, really cool person, like outside of acting.
Right. And then obviously Abomination, which had to play in Shang-Chi. So I guess Abomination's still there, so that could kind of set up like the Thunderbolts as well, or some version of Dark Avengers. But yeah, like,
bro, I'm excited I wonder when the next movie where the Shang-Chi guy comes back, because I actually really liked him.
Right, I really do. And so the funny part of this is like Doctor Strange isn't the Sorcerer Supreme anymore because of a technicality from being blipped.
That's funny.
So Wong is the fucking Sorcerer Supreme who was drunkenly singing karaoke.
Yeah. We saw what Wong was getting up to, and fucking Wong has secrets. In Shang-Chi, he goes to like underground fighting rings.
Right.
Fuck that
I
guy.
think that's why
You
he's like,
prick.
just don't involve me.
Yeah, I do like that, by the way. So it's interesting too. I don't know if you saw it because like people were going over the deleted scenes. Do you remember in the first trailer, he didn't say "don't involve me." He specifically was like, "Don't do that spell," right?
Mhm.
But they changed it to have him be more neutral, probably to make Doctor Strange look less bad, I guess. Because I suppose if Wong was specifically like, "Yo, don't do that," and he was like, "Fuck you, bitch, I'm doing it," maybe. But like, yeah, so they changed it to like, you know what?
Just don't involve me.
You're not gonna listen to me anyway. Just I'm gonna get out of here.
So,
Yeah.
and then technically now, I guess Doctor Strange is the de facto leader of the Avengers currently.
Yeah, I saw someone saying like the MCU can't survive without like an egotistical prick leading it.
Well, I mean, he's involved in the Illuminati inside of the comic universe, alongside
Bro, I
like
would die.
T'Challa
Can we
and.
please get that in the MCU?
You saw me retweeting Alfredo, right? Like
I
that is
didn't.
what I want so fucking bad because it's such a dark, twisted story.
Maybe we'll get that with whatever the fuck evil Doctor Strange is.
Like, because they kind of decide the fate of entire fucking planets with that shit. Like
So
that.
I got a stupid question. The evil Doctor Strange, right?
Mhm.
So that's specifically the one from What If. So I have to go watch What If, don't I?
And it's playing off of that version, or it might be another similar version of that. I don't fully know because the what ifs are supposed to be technically non-canonical, but you obviously.
So either way, what that is he's meeting an old like a variant of himself, right? Okay, so that's essentially like that would be like his version of like a Tom Holland or like an Andrew Garfield coming through, except it's like a universe where he's evil.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. It's insane, and I will say like the what ifs of the comic universe introduce some of the most fucked stories. It's their way of writing dark fan fiction, basically.
Yeah, so like I wonder if because I think going forward we're gonna look back at No Way Home and Multiverse of Madness, those two movies in a row, as like the big moment where the movies were like all the rules out the window. We can just now do whatever the fuck we want. Every movie leading up to Multiverse of Madness was just us like getting you hooked, and now rules mean nothing. We can do whatever the fuck we want.
Well,
that's what I like.
I'll stand by like 4 things here. Like we needed to have that startup, right? Like from Iron Man,
100%.
Iron Man to
important.
Endgame.
You got to suck the normies in. That's the way because if you just start with octopus monsters and multiverses, normies wouldn't like it.
We'll get to the octopus monster. I swear, audience. But like, you got to get that like normie audience, like you say. This is where like DC has failed. This is where like the dark universe has failed. This is where
they played the long game. And this ties back to our One Piece talk. Pacing is incredibly important. If they tried to jump right into the craziest shit, it wouldn't have worked. You know, and like so the fact and Iron Man to this day, like people that don't like superhero movies, they love Iron Man because that shit's like a really grounded, down-to-earth story. Like it barely even feels like a superhero movie. That feels like a movie that could just exist on its own.
Right, and it delves deep into the politics and corporatism and dives into a lot of important lessons that can be taught through a broad audience. But like you see and say, like Batman versus Superman, they're trying to string 7 different comic lines into it. You see, because they started with Man of Steel, that didn't really work out because it's Superman, and Superman is nigh impervious to everything, except pink kryptonite.
Except for the gay pink kryptonite.
I said that, like pink kryptonite and kryptonite. Yeah. He's allergic to being gay and green kryptonite.
His son is bi though, right?
One universe's son is bi. Fucking the comics are weird. But like. And that drove every conservative up the fucking wall, which is lovely. You see, and like that leading into fucking Batman versus Superman, because we're like, okay, let's just throw Batman in here, see if that sticks. Suicide Squad, see if that sticks. And nothing stuck. Shazam was the best movie out of the fucking DCEU. Fight me.
Yeah, it was. Did we see that one together or no?
Yeah, we did. That was the one we saw together.
Movie.
Yeah. And then Jason Momoa's abs carried Aquaman. And Wonder Woman was a good movie. Like the first one. The second one was shit. But like in the Dark Universe, he tried to get off the ground with the original Van Helsing. That failed. Dracula Untold failed. Fucking The Mummy with Tom Cruise with 77 minutes of fucking screaming and nothing happening. None of that worked. So they're like, well, throw it on the back burner.
I have a question. Because I don't know how to, there's a movie coming out and I don't know how to feel about it. And I need your opinion on it so I know how to feel about it. The Batman. What the fuck is that all about? There's so many goddamn Batman movies. What's the deal with it?
So that's basically year 2 Batman, like fresh out of like that rookie year where he's starting to get his rogues gallery. You're getting the Riddler in it from what I've seen.
That's exciting. I do like the Riddler.
It looks like you're having a dark, more film noir style. I don't know a whole lot about it.
Yeah, because it's gonna be. I'm guessing. Is it gonna be rated R?
It is rated R. It is rated R.
Okay, sweet. I have a question then. So real quick, because I feel like there was a trailer for this movie 37 years ago, and
there was,
and it never. Yeah, so was that the trailer where he was like beating the fuck out of a guy?
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember like when that trailer came out, it intrigued me because he like got down on a guy like a random grunt, and he was just like like I was like, all right, I got him. And I loved it because it was actually like Batman who was kind of just like, no, I'll beat your fucking head in. I'd love that.
Well, it's because he's still new, right? He doesn't know how to fully restrain himself because he's still coming off like that vengeful path he had in year 1 where he was like almost a murderer.
So is this the same Batman? Is this the same guy that played Batman from like the Batman v Superman?
No, this is fucking sparkly skin fuckboy from Twilight playing Batman.
What the fuck? Really? Yeah. The Edward guy?
Yeah, this is Robert Pattinson.
What?
Yeah, he actually has an incredible range for acting outside of fucking Twilight. Because I went,
I'm like, is this the first time he's Batman?
This is the first time, yeah.
Weird. Okay, go ahead.
I went and I'm like, okay, I know he's done more shit than this. I know he was Cedric Diggory in Harry Potter. I know he has done other things. Yeah. So I went and watched a few of his other movies. He actually is a decent actor outside of being a fuckboy in a vampire love story, you know? That's just me hating Twilight because I grew up having to fucking watch it. Because
I mean, in our days, the meme was to hate Twilight and Justin Bieber. So
right.
It's built into our genetics.
It really is. And now I feel bad for both of them because they were both like fucked over by Hollywood and or the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
But that's part of the game, baby. No, but like this is the one where he was like melting down like Joe Chill's gun and molding it into the bat symbol in his suit. He's got like a fucking Bugatti for a car. It's insane. So I'm kind of intrigued by that. But like you saw so many fucking cinematic universes fail because they don't want to do this. And then you have that one moment like at the end of Captain Marvel that was like establishing Sword and giving a reason for fucking Nick Fury to not be on planet anymore, right? And that's why like fucking Captain Marvel's not available for anything either, you know. The meme.
Yeah, I liked that they established at the end of the last one that he was a Skrull, Nick Fury, because there's that moment because it's true. If Nick Fury wasn't a Skrull there, it's true. You know, there was that line where he was like, "Ask Nick Fury," and they're like, "What the Nick Fury's been off planet for like a year."
Right. So, like, they know that there's just, like, a fake Nick Fury just floating around New York City, but they just...
Well, no, I think they assumed that Spider-Man was, or, like, that Peter was lying.
Right. That could be that could be too. And then, like, you have, like, all the other, you know, universes coming together here with, like, Shang-Chi starting, like, a more ground team style fighter. Obviously, Matt Murdock making a cameo so they could have the Defenders
I wanted to ask,
blip
so
in.
I've never seen any of the Netflix ones other than Jessica Jones. And I did go and see a clip. I know that they crossed over at one point because I saw a clip where Jessica Jones was talking to Matt Murdock, which means canonically, Jessica Jones is in the MCU.
Technically, but also technically not until.
No, technically, no. Fuck that. If Matt Murdock's there.
Right.
He is his character. Now, technically, in my head, I know that she... It's like when people say, oh, there was a fucking... I'm trying to think of an example. Where it's like, oh, there was a joke about Pizza Hut in SpongeBob. And there's this ad where Donald Trump did a Pizza Hut ad. So Donald Trump's in SpongeBob. Fuck it. Hell
right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, technically, you could go as far as to say, like, the entire Code Geass is just a marketing campaign for Pizza Hut Pizza.
Yeah. So true. But either way, I'm just saying. All right, I'm sad that Kilgrave got his neck snapped because I want Kilgrave in the MCU. I want David Tennant in the MCU. God damn it.
I mean, we have Harry Styles, so why the hell can't we have David Tennant?
Who is Harry Styles?
The fucking One Direction guy that was at the end of
No.
Eternals.
Who is he in the MCU?
He is, what the fuck is he? He's the one fuckboy from the Eros, I think. Marvel. Yeah. Yep. He's played by Eros, Star Fox, from the. He's one of the Titans. He's the brother of Thanos.
The purple guy from
Yes.
Guardians of the Galaxy?
Really? No. This dude right here.
Is it Eros?
Eros.
Eros.
Yep. And this is technically, they did a pretty good job on his costume. I've not read much of what he's in, so here you go. Boop, I just sent it to you on Facebook.
Oh, he was in the mid-credit scene for Eternals?
Yep.
That's why I don't know who the fuck you're talking about.
Yep. Well,
Okay.
I consume all things Marvel eventually.
Wait, so he's the brother of Thanos?
Yep.
Man, now I gotta watch Eternals. That sounds fucking important.
Yeah, just watch on
When's
Disney.
that shit gonna be on Disney Plus?
I think in a couple weeks.
Because I rebought my Disney Plus I'm 2 episodes into Hawkeye.
Yeah. So that's
Have you watched Hawkeye yet?
I have not. I'm sitting down to do that after I fucking watch all of The Mandalorian.
Pretty good actually so far. It's Hawkeye's so like all right. Just to kind of intrigue you, there is a scene in that show, episode 2, where Hawkeye has to attend a LARP.
Jesus Christ. So
I just really want you to think about this. He has to go to a LARP because there's a guy at this LARP a guy comes into somehow he gets the Ronin outfit, this guy, and he just thinks it's a really cool outfit, so he's wearing it at a LARP, and he's like, if you keep wearing this, you will die. Like, people will come after you. I've made so many enemies in that shit.
Yeah.
So like he has to go into this LARP, and they won't let him in unless he like buys a ticket and like puts on all the fake weapons and shit. So he's walking through this LARP, just like, and people are trying to attack him, but he's Hawkeye, so he's just kicking ass at this LARP as he's walking through.
Jesus Christ. So I love the Matt Fraction line of Hawkeye. It is like literally one of my favorite lines in all the comics because it is so grounded and beautiful of a story. So it's definitely something I'm going to sit down and watch.
Oh yeah.
I definitely
anyway, let's wrap it up 5 minutes because I'm still sitting in the parking lot with this family bear.
I definitely recommend, like, anybody that wants to get into comics like that is one of those I'll definitely recommend from the Marvel side. So go read that. But no, like, with everything that's happening right now, like, obviously, like, we talked at great lengths about, like, superhero burnout and all that shit. But I love what that trailer of Multiverse of Madness set up. Like, you and I were talking, because I love Shumagorath as a villain. He's like a fucking eldritch bullshit deity, almost on the level of like Cthulhu, you know?
That's exciting.
So, like, having him, you know, teased in that Multiverse of Madness trailer. Also, like, props to whoever edited the Spider-Man trailers, because they did a phenomenal job of just fucking rotoscoping everything out.
Yeah.
So Matt, like, people were like, you can tell that there was something else here, you know, like you had your internet.
Well, it was that one that the Brazil page uploaded one that wasn't cut in time, so Lizard's head gets snapped back, and I still to this day don't know if that, because that might have been a purposeful thing, like, we're gonna leak it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, they had to do zero fucking marketing for that movie, and it's
true.
Glorious. Like, everybody hyped that movie up, and it still somehow lived up to everything. But, like, with the Multiverse of Madness trailer that was at the end of that movie, like, they set up so much beautiful potential. Like, the, like, fucking line from Doctor Strange to Wanda. And you and I were just over there in the theater, like, I'm leaving the theater, I'm like, no, that's just a fucking Falcon job.
Yeah, I love that
he gives so few fucks about everything that Wanda did, in
I think
WandaVision.
it's because when you're Doctor Strange and you deal with essentially H.P. Lovecraft eldritch gods on a daily basis trying to like destroy the earth, because really, I'll be honest, like to me, if I'm power scaling MCU fuckers, I would put Doctor Strange up there. Like that man has power, all right? Like if he wants to, he can just fucking cast a spell and make everyone forget a guy. Like that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So honestly, yeah, I feel like he's like, what did you do? Like, do you remember that? There's that joke from that Rick and Morty episode, one of the better ones, where they have to like fix Rick's car battery by going into it. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And then on the B plot, Summer's out there, and there's like, there's the car, like keep Summer safe. Remember?
Right.
And so there's that. It's like murdering people, paralyzing people, and then like. But then
the police are there getting built.
I'm leading up to something, I promise. The car brokers a peace treaty between the spiders and the humans in that universe. Mm-hmm. And then the president's like, hell yeah, free this car, stop pursuing it. And then they're like, but sir. And then the president's like, what did it really do? Kill a guy and paralyze another guy? Who cares? Like that's literally Doctor Strange with Wanda. Like, I mean, what'd you do? Like enslave a village, or enslave like one little tiny town? Fuck it, apples and oranges. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, we gotta go stop Shumagorath and my alternate universe's fucking body over here because Peter didn't want to let everybody forget he was Spider-Man, but now I've opened up a portal into time and space. It's a long story, you know?
Here's the thing. Some of that is Peter's fault, but I'm honestly, Doctor Strange just shouldn't have done it.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of that is his fault, too. I don't understand why he fucking, I don't know, man. Who do you put the blame on more in that?
Peter's small head, and also Doctor Strange not being like, you know what? Fuck it. Here, let me help you. I'm the former, Sorcerer Supreme. Let me broker with the college.
Well, there's that fucking that line that he has that I love, where it's like, you asked me to brainwash the entire planet, and you haven't even like given the college a second call yet.
Right. Or ask me to like wipe the minds of damage control and the fucking people that are directly affecting you instead of like the entire universe.
Yeah, Doctor Strange. It sounds like he assumed that his entire life was ruined.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one will even talk to him. But it's like, no, you got like one rejection, and you're like, it's over. And also, low key, people need to talk about this more. I'm sorry, I'm on Doctor Strange's side with the fuck the fixing and curing them, send these fuckers back. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry, he's right. Literally, Aunt May would be alive if you just listen to Doctor Strange. I don't, and honestly, if you just think for 2 seconds, most of these villains that they're curing are just going immediately straight into death anyway.
Or close to death. Like the fixes for Doc Ock maybe having full control again would be able to be.
No, well, here's the thing. We know for a fact that Doc Ock is going back to that sun reactor about to explode. He's gonna have to fucking tackle that shit into the ocean again, because we know with him we know the moment he was taken. It was people have pinpointed it. It's when he's got his hands around his neck, and it's already fucking imploding at that point. So, and then Green Goblin, I mean. With Green Goblin, we know he knows Peter's identity, and that must have been when the mask came off, which was around that final fight that they had.
Yeah.
So in my
how
mind,
will that one play out now that Toby's fucking bleeding out? Because that would cause a time rift in and of itself. Because
I assume that Toby was. No, because Toby's Peter Parker was dragged from a he's much older moment. Remember?
True.
It's not like they were dragged from the same time. Because Otto Octavius said, "Oh, look at you, you're all grown up," and they referenced how they worked out things with MJ. So he was dragged from Toby's Peter is literally canonically 40 in this one.
True.
So yeah. Anyway, I have to go. I'm gonna piss myself. I keep sitting in this car. Final thoughts.
So we're gonna do this weekly, bi-weekly. How are we gonna handle this? Because I kind of put up a mini tease on Twitter, kind of ARG style.
Yeah, did you explain in the beginning like our mind process? Like it's just easier for us to upload this way, and then you guys get your content.
I gave like a brief, but I wanted to get your thoughts here at the end, like how often we'll do this.
I want to do every other week, basically twice a month, a long ass podcast. And this could go, if I was home and I wasn't sitting in my car in a parking lot, like it could be 5 hours, it could be 3 hours, whatever, it could be 2 hours, but like 2 semi-long podcasts a month where we talk about whatever the fuck we want to talk about. That's literally, because that's honestly, and like going forward, we'll start doing more skits. I can't fucking speak. Sketches, skits, because honestly, I miss those the most. So like,
and then we can do other content as we see fit or have time to do it,
Yeah, like we just gotta fucking, because I want there to be some level of consistency, but like I just don't have the energy to like sit down and be like, all right, now this 40-minute video is specifically about this. It's just so much easier to have just like a natural conversation.
Right.
Now I understand why every YouTuber just evolves into doing a pod. Like we've Jeffed right now. You know what I mean? They just evolve into like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to talk.
Right.
So
yeah, and you see this with,
we're all. Go ahead, sorry.
You see this with everybody, like you said, like fucking everybody from the Goons to Achievement Hunter. Like there's like 90 fucking podcasts with Rooster Teeth now. It's just more natural to do this. Eventually, I'm going to try to get all of these like onto like Spotify or iTunes or whatever, so you guys can just throw
and when
them
I'm
into
not
like
in my car, I'll use my good mic and shit too. But what I'll say too is like it's because I don't want to end the channel. Because I'm thinking about this. We're all moving on in our lives, and we just don't have the energy or even the passion to do what we used to do with like when I was like, we used to have free time. We used to be kids basically, and like even though I was in like my maybe early mid-20s, but like,
I was mid-20s, starting this. I started the YouTube game late. You started the YouTube game late. Thurman started the YouTube game late. And this way we can have guests and do whatever the hell we want to do with it.
So we started this like back then. I felt like a kid. I felt like I had the free time, but now I have like, I gotta like maintain relationships. I gotta fucking make plans with my girlfriend. I gotta hang out with my friends. I gotta do 12-hour days at work. Yeah. But it's not that I don't like my life. I do. It's just like when I get home, I want to focus on like personal growth stuff. I want to work on an AMV. I want to read a book. You know what I mean? But I don't
read a book. What are you, 12?
I'm assuming you're kidding, because reading a book is like really, really like satisfying shit for your mind.
I do the audiobook anymore. I don't have the patience to actually sit down and read an actual novel anymore, which is depressing because I used to read like 5-6 books a year or a month. Good books.
Yeah. Catherine let me the Avatar, like the Kyoshi novel. Yeah. So you like Avatar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the most I can sit down and do is like something like that, or like a Sword Art Online light novel, something along those lines. I like an actual like thick boy book. Like a Game of Thrones style book, I just audiobook that now.
Well, either way. I'm trying to
wrap it up before you piss yourself. Yeah.
No, I'm just. Hey, I'm not trying to interrupt you, but I'm just trying to like. I know I'll just forget my thought if I don't get it out.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, but no, I appreciate your input. I really do, because I would be boring if I just kept talking to myself. But point being though, I love this channel too much to just like move on, because really like part of me was like, maybe we should just retire the channel. But like I like the fans, I like the community, I like talking about the manga occasionally. So I just think this is the easiest way. We have our core audience, you guys. So now you guys will you'll get the David streams. Occasionally I'll head over to David's and we'll do like read along streams with me there, and you'll get at least 2 nice long podcast.
And you still have to do the challenge of going through all the Kingdom Hearts. I'm not gonna let you forget that.
Yeah, we'll do that, and I want to do a read through of Record of Ragnarok with me, and I want to make you sit through all of Hanako too.
Okay, I'm down for that.
Hell yeah! All right, I'm gonna go grocery shopping and piss myself.
All right. Have a nice golden shower.
Yeah. Also, going forward, by the way, we might as well just like live stream this, and then it'll already be uploaded.
Yeah. That's kind of my mindset at this point. Like having like fucking raw file on my computer to put up onto other platforms, and then the live stream of this. There.
So going forward, but for this one, upload it, schedule it for tomorrow at like noon. I'll give it a nice title, thumbnail, yada yada. Do some hype for it on Twitter. If you want to explain, just like, if you wanted to even do like a video on Twitter, like, hey, we were trying to think about how to get you guys content and still do it in consistent manner. This we can't. However you want to.
All right, I'll put like a mini update video up as soon as I'm done hitting peace.